Hello, AP Euro. This is 7.3. All right. It's national unification and diplomatic tensions. All right. All right. Without further ado, we're explaining the factors that resulted in Italian unification and German unification in this topic. And we're explaining how their sentiment and political alliances are leading to tensions amongst European powers. All right, the themes are national identity, obviously, if we're talking about nationalism, and other states and institutions of power, since we're going to talk about other countries. All right, so once again, national unification, diplomatic tension. So, table of contents. This is going to be a big topic. So, for this video, we're only going to talk about these two things, and then in a video tomorrow, we're going to do these two things. All right, so without further ado, Crimean War. So the Crimean War, it began in 1853. You have to remember we just had our Springtime of Nations, 1848. Lots of revolutions all around Europe. They all, for the big ones that we need to know, they all failed. Okay, for this course. But the one that ends the Age of Metternich, the one that ends the peace in Europe, is the Crimean War. Okay, so this is kind of a big one. It's kind of funny because it's important, but you don't need to know the details, which is kind of funny. But whatever, I don't make the content. So the war was motivated both religiously and politically, and we haven't seen that in a while, religiously. And these are the four major players: Russia, Ottoman Empire, France, and Great Britain. So, religious tension. So, a key trigger was that the Christian minorities in Ottoman Empire. And so essentially, Russia was wanted to protect the Orthodox Christians in Jerusalem and give them protection and special rights and special privileges. And France wanted Catholics to have protection and special rights and special privileges. And they both wanted these groups to have protections and special rights and privileges in Jerusalem. All right. And if you know your geography in your 19th century, Jerusalem's an Ottoman Empire. Ottoman Empire controls Jerusalem at this point. And France and Russia don't really give a hoot because they don't really care about the Ottoman Empire. They just care more about Orthodox Christians for Russia and Catholics for France. So this kind of was one of the tension points in the Crimean War. And then the second tension point is the political tension. Once again, the Ottoman Empire is slowly falling apart due to its lots of national movements happening during the Springtime of Nations. One of the famous ones we talked about was the Greek Independence War, where Greece got independence from the Ottoman Empire due to the help of Britain, France, and Russia. There was other wars and nationalist movements that Ottoman empires dealt with, but we just couldn't have enough time to talk about it. So Russia, seeing this as a weakness, seeing the Ottoman Empire getting less strong, saw this as an opportunity to expand and take their land. Now, France, although they also don't want the Ottoman Empire, they want to have them weak, France likes Ottoman Empire as a little buffer between them. They do not want Russia encroaching in on France. All right? So France is going to try to have some interest in maintaining the Ottoman Empire to stand up long enough to keep Russia at bay. So, what happened? So, Russia trying to get access to the Black Sea, that's the whole point. All they want was access to the Black Sea. Now, this war is really juicy, but you'll see in a second that we're not going to get too much juice out of it. But this juicy war, essentially, Russia wants access to the Black Sea. The Ottoman Empire says no. Russia invades anyway. Ottoman Empire declares war. Okay, who joins who? Well, Britain and France almost immediately join the Ottoman Empire. And Russia's like, great. But Russia says, I got this big old Austrian Empire who I saved during the Hungarian Revolution and Austrian revolutions during the Springtime of Nations. And so Russia gives them a phone, and essentially Austria says, nah, we don't want to help you. Thanks for helping us, but we're not going to help you. We're going to just stay neutral, kind of take care of ourselves, figure out how Austria-Hungary works out. And so this is how Russia reacts. Now, once again, this is kind of a really good, juicy war. It doesn't last very long, and APR doesn't really want you to focus on it. And so we're not going to focus on it. So what happens is, fast forward, Russia loses, and the big takeaway I wish I could highlight is that most importantly, Concert of Europe's broken up. The band is broken. Now, balance of power is no longer balanced, and there's kind of a schism. Okay? Also, Russia and Great Britain decide to do some self-reflecting. As you notice, Britain, although doing Industrial Revolution stuff, and they're getting involved in the Greek War and this war, and they say, you know what, let's just kind of take a break from meddling in other people's business inside of Europe. And Russia says, yeah, we're going to do the same thing. We're not going to go and help any other revolutions. We're just going to kind of help Russia do Russia stuff. Now we have unification of Italy. All right. So we see a bunch of dudes wearing the same colored shirt because they are the red shirts. Very complicated stuff. We are entering in a time of riordimento, okay? And that is essentially unification of Italy. Like I said in 7.2, Italy is a bunch of city-states. Think with Manzini's Young Italy in the 1848 revolution. Although they both failed, the desire to one day unify is still there. And Count Cavour is going to try to make it happen. So there's Count Cavour. All right. So he is the PM of Sardinia Piedmont right here. I know this is a modern day map, but just focus on the top left, the northwestern part. It's very strong. It's one of the stronger Italian states, just like Prussia is one of the stronger German states. And they take the responsibility to try to unify all of Italy. All right. Now, Cavour is a very smart guy. I mean, look at this guy. You don't wear this and wear those glasses if you're not smart. Come on. So, he's a very smart dude, and he uses modernization and strategic alliances to help him bring Italy together. Okay? He modernizes infrastructure because he's looking at Britain, he's looking at France, he's even noticing in Germany, the German states, how their infrastructures are all dramatically improving. And when they dramatically improve, it's easier to transport their industrial products, which then boost their economy. And when your economy is boosted, people are hungry, people are fed, then you can feed and grow a military. And so that is what he did in Sardinia, Piedmont. Okay. And then the second big thing he did is he saw that the Austrian Empire is encroaching right here on the northeast. And so he secret's the key word, he made a secret meeting and alliance with Napoleon III, who's the leader of France at the time. And he made a deal with Napoleon III that if Napoleon helps drive out Austria out of the northeast, then they can get some of the Italian states' land. Now, pause real quick. His approach is based on realpolitik, okay, which is a very pragmatic, calculated approach. It's very Machiavellian, which is the guy who wrote The Prince, Niccolo. Uh, it's essentially, he is really just focusing more on his ultimate goal, not over idealism. Okay, what's in it for me? What's in it for my country? In order to get what I want. And he wants Italy to unify. So that's kind of what his strategy is. Now, his war plan is kind of brilliant. He baits Austria Empire to take some land. When they take the land, the French Empire swoop in and then attack Austria. And that's what happened. So Austria declared war on Sardinia. France shows up, kicks their butt, and Austria is defeated. Now, this is in 1859, okay? Now, several Italian states, over here and over here and over here, are like, oh, that was pretty impressive, Sardinia, Piedmont. Let's unify with you. And so after the Austrian, I think this is called the second wave of Italian independence of 1859, I think that's what I think it is called. This unifies the northern Italian part of Italy. Okay, so let's look at the southern part. So, southern part, once again, bunch of city-states. These two things failed. There's still some desire to unify. We have Giuseppe Garibaldi, and this is a black and white picture, but he is wearing a red shirt. Oh, it's right there. Okay. Him and his men are called the Red Shirts because they wear red shirts, and they're in the southern Italy area. And essentially, with military might, he does in fact unify the southern part of Italy. Now, he does not want to be in charge. They ask him to be in charge. By this point, uh, he dies. He dies in 1861, so he cannot be in charge. They ask him, will you be the leader of all of Italy? And he does not want to be because he thinks it would be better under a monarchy than having a republican, like being ruled by like a republic. He's afraid that Italy will be divided, and so he wants a singular, he wants to bring back the monarchy to unify all of Italy. So, who's he pick? Oh, he picks that guy. He picks Victor Emmanuel II, who was the king of Sardinia, Piedmont, while the Count, I'm losing my mind. Count Cavour, yeah. Whew. While Count Cavour was the PM making all the big decisions, he was the king. Um, and everything in Italy was unified, except for Rome, because Napoleon III is a jerk. That was a part of the land that he took without Corvot's permission, and he would not let it go. But then France had a war with Prussia, and they needed the troops and the money, so France withdrew from Rome, and before they could turn back around, Victor Emmanuel II took Rome and officially united Italy as one country in 1871. Now, this concludes the first two sections. All right. And then tomorrow we'll talk about German unification and the diplomatic tensions. All right. Have a good time.